a term paper? And what is academic writing? A term paper is a research document that students write at the completion of a term or a semester. A term paper, you research and write about the subject matter of a particular course. Therefore, in every course unit that you are going to study here, it is expected that you will pen down a term paper. You write a term paper. A term paper is this research document that you write on a particular unit. The topic that you're supposed to write on, you'll either be assigned by the tutor, or sometimes the tutor will give you leeway to be able to study a topic but within the subject matter of your unit. I want to distinguish a term paper from a research paper. In a research paper, you try to solve a problem. You formulate a research question. You formulate an hypothesis. You look at the problem. You look at the background of the study. That is a research paper. It's more advanced. You look at the background to the study. What are you studying when you are writing a research paper? What are you studying? What is the statement of the problem? You cannot research when you don't have a problem. The purpose of researching is either to sort a problem, to answer an hypothesis. Like you can have an hypothesis that all St. Paul's students are hypocrites. That is an hypothesis that you begin with. And in your research, you do a research. You can use different methodologies. You can use field studies. You can ask questions. You can look at the literature that they write. And at the end of it, you either disapprove the hypothesis or you don't disapprove the hypothesis. Therefore, we are not going to study about the research paper. We are going to study about the term paper. Every unit, tomorrow, some of you have already begun. You're going to study Old Testament survey. You are going to look at New Testament survey. You're going to look at church history. Not only church history, for those who are here for regular, you're going to be taken by me through philosophy, the love of wisdom. And I'm going to take you through the 5 branches of philosophy. Epistemology. We are going to look at ethics. We are going to look at metaphysics. We are going to look at all these philosophical terms. And we are going to study Socrates, Aristotle, Plato. But after you have studied, either it is Old Testament survey or it is philosophy, I'll expect that you write a term paper on a particular topic. Term papers have to be narrow. You have to narrow it. The higher you go, the narrower it becomes. In fact, by the way, let me give you an example. During my master's thesis was about understanding the doctrine of Trinity from an African perspective. It's a narrow topic. It's Trinity. But you cannot write everything about Trinity. It's so wide and so huge until you have to narrow. Therefore, key thing as you write your research term paper, narrow the topic. We are going to look at the motions. My PhD, I wrote it on evaluating the doctrine of the intermediate state of death. Do you know the intermediate state of death? You have already not studied systematic theology. But the intermediate state of death is a place where the souls go from the time a person dies to the time of resurrection, where our grandfathers and our parents, some of us are. That is what I studied. I narrowed it down to an African perspective. Therefore, as you do your term paper, allow me to say that you must narrow your term paper. How long is it for you people who are doing diploma? I expect that you write from 8 to 10 pages. 8 to 10 pages. Are we together? 8 or 10 pages. And I want to tell you that it's a piece of cake. Because my thesis was 300 pages. over 250 sources. But I was doing that and studying here and teaching here, so it's possible. 10 pages is very easy. 10 pages, it is possible. And you have to use at least 10 sources, 10 books. Research paper, term paper, you don't write basing on your mind. You must use sources. But here, let me begin to say, as you write, number one, have a creative and interesting title. Do you know that some people are just taken off by the title? Your title should be creative, interesting, so that I am drawn. I'm drawn to read your article, your term paper, or your essay paper. I'm saying some people, when they arrive in a particular restaurant, they just look at the way the food is set. When they look at the food is set, some people, their appetite disappear. They don't eat. Unaona mwingine, the way the waiter has appeared, amevaa viraka ingine, nguo ni nyeusi, you are not sure of the color, of the original color. So ilikuwa green, sasa imekuwa purple, and he's serving you, he's sweating profusely, and he's giving you food. Some of you, the appetite inapotea and you don't eat. Some tutors may not have time as you go higher. And in the title, they conclude whether to give you an E or a C or an A or a B. Did you take an effort to do the title? Titles should be creative, it should be interesting, it should draw and whet the appetite of the reader. Therefore, the first thing as you write, look at the title. Look at the title. Number two, what is very critical, you must know, not only the title, the cover page. The cover page is very, very critical. You need to write the cover page. You're going to see it in the library. The cover page according to the standards of St. Paul's University and St. Paul's Theological College. That is the cover page. You are supposed to have a cover page, the title. It should contain your name, your index number. It should contain the name. It should contain the title of your paper. Let's say is exploring the authorship of Pentateuch. Exploring the authorship of Pentateuch. You write it by What's your name, you say? Mike Korir. A term paper or an essay paper submitted in partial fulfillment of the requirements of Old Testament survey. You put the course code. Paper submitted two. A paper submitted, a term paper submitted two. You write the name of the teacher well. I was surprised the other day when somebody called me Van Duncan Jesus. Duncan, by the way, is my younger brother. So I did not know whether to mark the paper or to take it to my younger brother. To mark. Because it was written Van Duncan Jesus. Therefore, as you write the name of your tutor, know the name properly. According to me, the title may be Mahewa, but the name, it's good you get it properly. Submitted a paper, you must write a term paper or an essay paper submitted in partial fulfillment of the requirements of Old Testament survey. Course unit. Course title, the name and the title and the course code, you put it there. Then the year, the month that you have submitted, it is September 2022. And this cover page should be formatted in a very, very, very neat, organized, and it must be well structured. I don't know if the rules are going to be as they were, but you are supposed to type. You're supposed to type. There is a computer lab down there, you're supposed to type, or at home you're supposed to type. Or even you can use your phone. It is possible to type. Now, let me go to what is very critical. From the cover page, you are supposed to do an outline. The next page, the first page is called what? The cover page. But you don't write cover page, you do what I've just told you. Number two, outline, and I find you writing cover page on top. Then you will see stars. And my work here is to make your life a bit difficult, because if I make it easier, you will not learn. Number two, you are supposed to write the outline. The second page. But you don't write number one. The first page is Roman numeral 1, but you don't write it. The second page is Roman numeral 2, and then you write the outline. The outline contains the subtopics and the subtitles of your term paper. And preferably, in short, there is always, every term paper should have an introduction. You put page 1, then the title, the body, or what you are writing about, maybe page 2. Then it must contain conclusion and application. Page 8, maybe. Now, let's go to what we are supposed to do. I was just beginning with the preliminaries. Number 1, introduction. All introductions should be interesting and captivating. Use phrases and words that can draw someone to read your term paper. So every introduction should be interesting. It should summarize what you want to cover. And finally, every introduction should have what we call a thesis statement. It is 1 or 2 sentences that captures what your research, what your term paper entails. It's called a thesis statement. A thesis statement summarizes what you are supposed to do. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes.
Therefore, what am I expecting you? I'm expecting you to write very interesting introductions. Number one, there is a difference between research paper, and composition writing. Composition writing, you write what comes into your mind. But in term paper, we write basing on sources. We write basing on sources. And before you formulate your outline, read on the topic that you're supposed to write on. Let's say you are writing about the authorship of Pentateuch. The authorship of Pentateuch. The authorship of Pentateuch. You are supposed to read and discover that there is the traditional Mosaic authorship that states that Moses is the author of the 5 books of Pentateuch. That is the first proposition. Number 2, know that there is documentary hypothesis that was proposed by a man by the name of Spinoza. Spinoza was a Jewish philosopher. He denied the authorship of Moses. There is a man called Strauss, and there is a man by the name of Julius Wellison. They proposed that Pentateuch was edited preferably by someone by the name of Ezra. And he used how many sources? 4 sources. So 4 sources. Source document J, source document E, source document D, and source document P. The Jehovists, the Elohists, the Deuteronomists, and the priests. So when you are writing about the authorship of Pentateuch, you must be aware of his theories as you begin to write. And let me give you an example. When you are writing, you are saying, you begin something interesting. Pentateuch are the first 5 books of the Bible. They can also be known as the Decalogue, the Torah, or the law books. They explain the origin of the universe. Then you see, there has been debates by scholars all over. There has been debates by scholars on the authorship of Pentateuch. Then I'm going to show you references at the end of it. There has been debate by scholars on the authorship of Pentateuch. And for me, I'd like you to do what you call Chicago Turabian footnotes. There has been debate on the authorship of Pentateuch. Then you'll go down here, and I'm going to explain to you on how you are going to write the footnotes. Assuming that is number 1. The first source. Every source that you use, every book that you cite, you must acknowledge. This is called citations. It's called citation in term paper. Every information that you use, you must cite. Without citing, you are getting into an academic offense that is called plagiarism. Plagiarism is attributing someone's work as if it is your own. Presenting someone else's ideas as if it is your own. It's called plagiarism. A serious offense. When I was in college, there was one bishop who was caught plagiarizing, and he was given 0 out of 20 because it's not your work. There are people who go and they get a good essay and copy and they just copy and paste and present it as their own. These days there is plagiarism checker. I just check and I discover that 80% of your work you have copied. You deserve no marks. Therefore, all term papers should be original. You must write. And if you don't write and you copy, you will be caught. The ways of a thief are short. And it is absurd for a potential priest or bishop to be found. I had a story of a priest with a collar in an exam na alikuwa amebeba Mwakenya. So he was sweating with the collar na Mwakenya, sweating profusely. And I want to tell you, it's not an easy job for you to plagiarize because you are called to a higher calling. Therefore, do an original term paper. And I want to say your term paper should be coherent and fluid. You should connect ideas, statistics, and issues from different sources, and it becomes a cohesive, organic term paper. Now, allow me to talk about citation. If I say scholars, let's say a quotation I've gotten it. When I'm quoting direct, scholars have differed on Pentateuch authorship. This statement in my writing, in my thesis, I've quoted this quotation. I put number 1 here. This is what we call Turabian footnotes. Here at the bottom of the page, I also put 1. If you are writing, if you are typing, you put a superscript, the uppercase 1. And here you go there to your computer and you look at reference and you look at footnotes. It automatically, when you click footnotes, it automatically set it this way so that it will appear here and there. Assuming this book is by Job Peter. In the footnotes, you begin with the first name, then you go to the son. The title of this book is Pentateuch. You can write, it will help you tomorrow. Pentateuch. Then you put a comma and brackets, and inside the brackets, you write the name of the city where the book was published. It is Nairobi. Then you put a colon, Uzima Press. And the year of publication is 1968. You cross the bracket. This quotation, I have gotten it from page 12. I put page 12 and full stop. Are you seeing my writing? 1 Job Peter, the title of the book, the name of the author begins, the title of the book, Pentateuch. Then I'll put a comma and brackets. Then I've written the city that the book was published, Nairobi, the city of publication, Uzima Press, the year of publication, 1962. Then I've closed my bracket, comma, and I've put the page that I got the quotation. And the page is page 12. And I have put a full stop. Very simple. It's like eating ugali. Very simple. Now, anybody with a textbook here? Anybody with a textbook? Any book? Does anybody have a textbook? This one does not have, and it might not be a very perfect one. Any textbook? Any textbook? I don't know if we have any textbook. As we wait for the textbook to come, assuming you are using the same book again, assuming that you are using the same book again, John Peter, and you have quoted There is the mosaic and the documentary hypothesis theory. Okay, good. Thank you. Documentary hypothesis theory. Theories. 2. I have used the same book. Here, I will write just ibid. Ibid is the Latin for same as. So I'll write ibid. If it is the same book and a different page, I'll write ibid, page 32. Something like that. Don't worry, we will do it practically. So if this is the book, can you show me the name of the author? Ken? Ken who? Duncan. What is the title of the book? Responsible Stewardship of God's Creation. Now, let's go and look at the city of publication. The city of publication is here. It is Nairobi, Kenya. And who are the publishers of this book? The publishers of this book is Youth Workers Toolkit. Youth Workers Toolkit. When was it published? 2014. And the page, it can be either 15 or whatever page. Have you understood what I'm saying? Have you understood part of what I'm saying? That is the first system. The other way of writing is called APA, which some of the lecturers will decide that you use it. Here, if it is APA, instead of writing a 1 here, you put a bracket and you use the surname Peter, comma, 1968, page 12. No, it's Peter, 1968, page 12. Full stop. That is the other method that is called APA. But for my unit, I'll desire you to do the Turabian, Chicago Turabian, which is the easier one, so that you write the footnotes and you enjoy. So I said, as you write, ensure that your term paper is flowing. Ensure that it is original and authentically yours. Ensure that your introduction is interesting and captivating, and there is a thesis statement. The purpose of the thesis statement is to summarize what you are supposed to write about. You summarize. Then there is the body. From the introduction, there is always a body, what you are writing about. Then there is the conclusion and the finding. In the course of your research, what are the things that you have found? You discuss some of the conclusions, some of your findings, and how does it personally affect and impact your life. It's called conclusion and personal application. Now, you are supposed not to plagiarize. You remember the cover page. Lastly, the cover page, the outline, the body. From the body now you write number 1, number 2, it continues up to number 10. Then lastly, there is something that is called a bibliography or list of reference. A bibliography or list of reference. In the bibliography, you put all that that is in the footnotes, all the footnotes, you look at the books that were used and you put them in the bibliography. Like here, in the bibliography, you begin with the surname first. Peter, comma, Job. Instead of a comma here, a full stop. There is a thing that I forgot to mention. You are supposed to underline the title of the book. Underline the title of the book. If you are typing, you italicize. Also, all the first name, all the first letters, except proposition, should be capitalized. Then, in the bibliography, you write, all bibliography should be arranged alphabetically. You should arrange them alphabetically. The first letters alphabetically. Then here is Pentateuch. Full stop. Then there is no bracket here, Nairobi. Uzima Press. Then you write 1968. But in all your bibliography, you must ensure that the first letter of the surnames of the authors, they are arranged alphabetically. I think you have learned the gist of writing a term paper or a research, not a research paper, a term paper. Later you're going to look at proposal writing and thesis writing or dissertation writing. But for our purpose of today, we have just looked at the gist, the basics of writing term papers. I hope you will be original writers. The purpose of us teaching you is to make sure that you utilize the knowledge. As you do the term paper, we expect that you learn more about the units and that you will become excellent and good writers. May the Lord bless you as you begin this journey of writing. Some of you are going to write until one day you will write your PhD dissertation. It is my prayer that you will be original writers, you will avoid plagiarism, you will cite your work, you will write interestingly. As I conclude, C.B. Peter said, learning is an art. Writing is an art. It cannot be taught, but it can be learned. I have tried to teach it, but it's difficult to teach it, but it can be learned. As you go through from tomorrow, we'll practically go and do this research. And I expect that by Friday, by God's grace, you will have finished your draft term paper for my unit that is called Old Testament Survey. For those who are living here longer, they are doing what we call regular learning. You'll have more time. But by Friday, I expect you at least to have completed the introduction. May the Lord richly bless you as you begin this journey of being a writer. In the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.